Hello, 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 folks. What's the news today? It's been a while. I've been on my own channel, but something struck my sensibility, and I need to voice my opinion, as everybody has their opinion. The news today, it's about an archbishop in Ghana. I think his name is Charles Ajinasari. He claimed he's an archbishop. Fine. I give you that. I give him that title. Fine. But what is he saying? This archbishop is on a public stage, maybe in a among very friendly crowd of his church members, and declare that Nogokpo, a town in the Volta region in Ghana, in the Evwhehland, which stretches from the Volta River right up to the borders of Badagry in Nigeria, that this Nogokpo is very popular among our people in the Evwhehland, which are just demarcated for you. Each stretch. A very popular town, a very holy place for over 10 million people. This archbishop is saying that town is the headquarters is the demonic headquarters, quote and unquote, the demonic headquarters of these people, not only in Volta region, the so-called Volta region. Okay. He make this statement as if it is nothing to demean people, to brush people with this negativity of we are very holy. But I blame this on my own people, the Ever people. I blame this kind of attack on my own people, the Ever people. Not Airways, not Ayibe, or whatever name you people have allowed yourself to be called by. You won't stand for anything. I won't attack Asari, Ajimasari, or whatever they call his name. I won't attack him. I'll attack my own people. You see, these people are operating the same game Europeans operate on black people in general. Black people won't do anything, especially to some extent to Africans. They won't stand up when Europeans are attacking them, calling them all kind of names, poor, this, that. Meanwhile, that is where all their benefits and wealth is coming from. I'm talking about Europeans from Africa. But they can stand up and say things on Africans, and Africans will not say anything. They control the narrative in their print media, publishing papers, and even on the internet. We don't fight back as Africans all over the world, and especially in Africa. We don't fight back, we don't strike back. We don't try to counter the narrative of being poor, of not being intelligent, of people of shithole. We don't counter it. The same thing a group of people in Ghana are doing to a group, another ethnic group. But you don't have to blame the crowd that is coming to attack you. I have to blame the people who are receiving the attack. just sitting down in Ghana. You see, in Ghana, you become, or we become, an easy target to make fun of. But again, when you look at the dynamics between white Europeans, American white, and black, and see why they are attacking blacks for no reason, you see that there's a worth within black people, a rich history within black people. Black people built America, but to give them that accolade or that greatness, you have to reduce them. It's a psychology why people have been applying. They see a great people, but what will they do? Try to demean them so that they can feel important. This we know. I don't know about you, but some of us Africans, we know this, so we don't give a damn about what white people are doing, because we know they're coming from a very weak position to feel very important. People who know great history try to reduce people with great history, or people who have invented so much in America. It's so simple. People who work find a better way, a technological way, improved way to do things. And that's the reason why people who never been to school in a Western world, who were slaves, were able to invent things. The white man was not working. He was not doing any labor. So anything that has to do with labor that has been improved was improved. Can only be improved by the person who is working and finding it so hard. But a lot of you Africans don't believe that the black man was able to invent things. A lot of you, because you pride yourself to be educated in Western things, and you thank your soul for receiving that education from white people. So when we say white people didn't do anything, or they are not what you made them to be, a lot of you find it so hard, a pill to swallow. But those of us who are liberated in the mind, just as I explained you, the one who is working hard is the one that can only find an improved method to do his job easily. And thus, most black people invented a whole lot of things. And the slave owner, those who are enslaving them, to the greatness, or took it and patterned and claimed they are the one who invented those things. So the greatness of black people as a group, creative people, people who use their hands very well, is known to your masters. I'm talking to you Africans. And thus, they develop so many means to demean them, so that their children, the white people's children, would think their forefathers were of some greatness. But everything that made them great came from black people that they are trying so hard to demean. The same method, in the same vein, the majority of Ghanaian politicians and their pastors who have a political intention, political motive to control the narrative, to control the world that everybody is generating in Ghana. And from this crowd came this bishop, Charles Ajinasari. It's a political trick learned from how white people can control and move wealth within them alone and leave black people struggling for, or rushing for the scrap, or struggling to get a scrap, or fighting over the scrap. The same method is what is going on in Ghana. White supremacy has franchised the business of white supremacy to some blacks. It's like how you franchise McDonald's. You go to McDonald's headquarters and you buy a franchise, or KFC headquarters and you buy a franchise. Everything will be supplied to you from the headquarters. You sell the food, you take your profit, but the person who franchised it to you will take the majority. The same thing the pastors were doing. They franchised their churches, whether it's in England or in any city in America or any part of Africa or in Ghana. You got to send them 10% of whatever collection you could franchise. The same way white supremacy has been franchised, that black people are willing to demean their own people, especially the ones that the white supremacy people could not defeat in Africa. All the people that white people, the colonialists, could not defeat, send their chiefs to Seychelles and sodomized. Those are the people, if you look at it throughout Africa, I'm revealing you a secret. Those are the people the white man will give you power and guns to suppress, even though they left. Because they know those people, you have to do everything. We could not do it, but it's in your hands now. Or else, if you don't, you see. So, Ajinasari is calling a whole ethnic group of demon worshippers. But what is Nogokpo? What is in Nogokpo? I'll tell you what is in Nogokpo. What is in Nogokpo? Nogokpo is Evwhehland. If my people who are called by my name, it's a scripture in 2nd Chronicle. If my people, who are the people, who are called by my name, what is the name? Evwhehland. I won't go further. I'm not here to come and challenge you. Leave it or take it. The area where slaves were taken from was called Slave Coast. Not the Gold Coast, not Ivory Coast. We have Syria Coast, Ivory Coast. The Syria Coast is Senegambia area and Liberia area. Then we come to Ivory Coast. We have the Gold Coast and we have the Slave Coast. Today, two has been written out of history. The Syria Coast, which showed that we had more rice in the area before China, and the Slave Coast. The Slave Coast started from the borders of the Gold Coast, where the river Volta starts from, up to Evwhehland. That is the Slave Coast. There were no Yoruba Adam. Yoruba, the word Yoruba is only 200 years old. This area was called Evwhehland, the Nyigba, where the Ile-Ife, all these nations were in, but it was Evwhehland, the Nyigba. And the god that controlled this area was Evwhehland. The so-called Yorubas, who were just named 200 years ago, who call it Shango. Okay. Call it Shango. That's where most of the slaves were taken from. Why the slaves, where that area was targeted? Because they were a regal of people. People with substance. People who could build. People who got a great art. Who have developed great art to be picked to build new nation for other people. And people who had Evwhehland. Nogokpo is a town. But what is in Nogokpo is Evwhehland. So Nogokpo is not the deity. It's a town. It's the name of a town that housed Evwhehland. god of thunder and lightning. You see, if Ajinasari could do his history very well, he will notice that most of her kings were not coward and were not easily beaten by the so-called colonialists. None of our kings were able to be picked up into exile or were able to send to exile. You see? So, if there's any reason why they could not be picked by the British easily into exile and go and sodomize and press religion on them and bring them back in suit, it's because of Evwhehland. Yeah, so this is history. And because of this, the British had a feast with a group of people in this called Slave Coast. It's history time. So if Evwhehland could protect us from being picked into Seychelles or any exile island, these demons that you people worship, these are your heroes, Ajinasari. These are your heroes who did these things to maybe your family member. I don't know who your king was. I don't know which part of Ghana you came from. But let me tell you a story about Togui Jokoto. Jokoto la nyigbaji, anglo ba Jokoto la nyigbaji. Anglo ba Jokoto la nyigbaji. We put our things in a song, in a Gbaja song and a fast song. That is where we put most of our history. Jokoto la nyigbaji, anglo ba Jokoto la nyigbaji. Uba anglo ba Jokoto la nyigbaji. Yeah, Togui Jokoto was picked from Qatar or Anglogan when he stood up to these demons called British colonialists. And they sent soldiers to go and pick him up. Because who is Jokoto? Who is Jokoto? They brought him to Accra and put him in prison. 5 minutes later, Togui Jokoto is outside smoking his pipe. Outside the jail. Okay. That is freedom. That is voodoo. Voodoo. Vo means free. Vovoli means there's freedom. Evwhehland means are you free? Vovoli means liberation. Adu means people. Ghana do. Togo do. Nigeria do. America do. Adu means a people or a nation. So two words, voodoo, means to be free. To use the elements of nature, the air that you breathe, the water that you drink, the food, the herbs that you use every day. The tree that gives you shade, elements in the sky, the air, the thunder. Okay, to free yourself, that is what voodoo means. It's our word. It's not voodoo. So you're not going to tell us what voodoo means. What is voodoo or what is voodoo? Vo, not do. Do not vo. You people are stupid. You want us to lose our language so we cannot trace what is within, the wisdom within our language. You fools want us to lose our language like that, right? So we cannot see the wisdom hidden in our language, including your own language. Ajinasari, you want that language to go so you could be speaking English. So Togui Jokoto use elements of the world on earth, in the sky, in the atmosphere to free a Vorokwi, to free himself. He will have been picked to Seychelles and sodomized, as they did to other kings. So what did the British did? They took Togui Jokoto to Anyako and make him a Dufia, the king of Anyako. As if they were helping him, as if he should be gratitude to him for being gazetted as the. But who is the British to gazette anybody at all? You see, who are they? Say, we make you king. Toby Jokoto has been a vital human being to the Anglon. So whether you gazette him as a Dufia or Fanyako is irrelevant. But that's what they think they could bribe him. And since then, that method of gazetting kings, chiefs, royal members into some government document has been a thing that we've been practicing. So we can politicize it. If I gazette you, then you have to kiss my ass. Okay, so that is what Togbi Jokoto did. Under the powers of Yahweh. What do you want? Your kings who have no Yahweh were picked up like chicken. Okay? And every throne in Ghana, I don't call them Akonya. You people are stupid to call your throne stool. Stool means shit. Stool. I don't care how you write it. It's something that is so low. English language has so much spell in embarrassment cooked into it. Demeaning things cooked into it. Blackmail, Black Friday, black sheep. And you people use these words. Insulting yourself. So they told you your throne is a stool. The same word they use for shit. And you believed it. And you went to school all these years, but you couldn't figure it out that they're telling you, they're insulting you. They are kings in the less populated areas in Europe. A fool, a demonic human being like Leopold is called a king, and he ascended to a throne as God ascended to a throne. And your kings, who have more population in Africa, supposed to be skinned in stool, and you believe this, and you speak big English at Janasari in your church. You pride yourself to have some PhD or whatever. Call yourself an archbishop, but you couldn't figure these two things out. You see? So your kings will be picked. A lot of kings were picked like that and sent to Seychelles, sodomized, and sent back in suit and give them religion. And from that religion, you think you are liberated. But Togbi Jokoto liberated himself. He won't be in nobody's jail. He won't allow anybody to pick him up, humiliate him, send him out of his power base, and sodomize. That is your history. You see, that is your history. Don't be mad at the people who don't want to be enslaved. Don't be mad at other people. Don't be mad and try to demean them. Use psychology to make them feel little, belittle them. All your pastors, one called Gazelle or whatever, at one point, say the Volta region people, the people in the Ever people have, even though if they go to church, they have a Bovide Jovide. That's some half-caste pastor. You see? But I blame you Ever people in these churches where your pastors come and demean you, ridicule you, and you think he's cute. You think that's power. You see? People call you, what is the name? You don't even have a name in Ghana. You call yourself Ewe. There's no ethnic group called Ewe in history. You call yourself Aigbe, even though that word has so much power to it. And I'll tell you why it has so much power to it. According to the history of Ghan people on YouTube, narrated by one Ulomo, the Asian royals throne have to be taken and hide in Anejo, where there's another Yepa shrine over there. The king, Ayi, didn't even trust the Ile-Ifeans, so he didn't go as far as Ile-Ife to hide. Why he have to depart with the throne, the ancient throne of the Gan people? Because there was a war between Akwamus, according to this historian, which is on YouTube, between the Gan people and Akwamus. And the Gan people intentionally going to war with no bullets. Oh, people have been bought. It's not only yesterday. Going to war with their enemy with no bullets. So they were ready to be defeated. I'm not making it up. So Ayi Kushi, the king Ayi, took his elders to a secured place where this ancient throne will be secured forever, and it's been there forever. So when the war subsided, the hostility subsided, a delegation was sent to Ayikushi in Anejo among the Evwhehland. We want you back. We say, no, we ain't coming back. So the delegation came back to say, hey, Ayigbe, this is powerful. This is powerful. But that is a nickname to a group. It shouldn't be named, it shouldn't be called that. Your name is Evwhehland. It's not Ewe. Ewe is a female sheep in this fucking English language. So Mahama will be talking about politics and he will say Ayigbe people. Even Kufuor in 1999, when he accepted the nomination to be the leader of NPP, in his nomination speech, he would mention all the ethnic groups. He used the word Ayigbe. How could a leader who want to run as a president call a people by their nickname, even though some of them think it's demeaning, but there's so much power in that word? I just said it. You see? Cast your eyes around in Ghana there and tell me which ethnic group you think you could trust with your throne, with all the corruption we have in Ghana. If your throne is gold, by the time you come back, they will put a replica over there. It will be sold. But Ayikushi, up to today, believed with the faith in Yehovah, this is where my throne can survive into perpetuity. Trust is what we're talking about. So when Nogokpo is mentioned, whether in Anejo or in the town of Nogokpo, or whether in Jelukofo or Anyako, trust is what we're talking about. Ajinasari, we cannot trust you even with anybody's throne. You will sell it to the highest bidder. It's so when you want to demean people, you got to know their history and what made them thick. And what made us thick is Yehovah. Trust. Trust is in the blood. Trust people that you can trust with your throne. A throne. Ancient throne. Ajinasari. Who can trust you with their ancient throne? A throne coming from thousands of years back. The people who believe in Yehovah has been trusted with an ancient throne of the Gan nation. You see? So I'm blaming you, Evwhehland people. You don't stand for anything. You do not stand for anything. You see? And that's why. You are in Accra, you lose your root, you lose your name. And I heard that Janasari married to an Efe woman. You see. But you know what? Efe people, don't challenge these fools. Don't go and challenge. Go and march on him, but don't challenge your pain. Whatever pain you have will give you retribution. But don't challenge. Don't call them for challenge, because the retribution that will come is generational. So when these fools give you 1 week and nothing happens, they will tell you, oh, our God has prevailed. A God that is, when you turn it around, is dog. Our dog has prevailed. But they don't know. When 8 years ago, almost about 7 or 5 years ago, a government was terrorizing a people who never hurt them, a people who never did anything to them. And if you could remember, nobody could say a word 5 years ago, 6 years ago in Ghana. There was terror around, and we can't say anything about the leadership. And they used that power and arcanization to demean people and maltreat the people. Our women cried at the border. People were killed. Our fathers cried. Our grandfathers cried. They call on their God. 5 years later, the government that nobody can touch, nobody can say a word to, is in the gutter. Their own people are calling them Jimmy for. Their own people that they used. You see, that is retribution. It takes years. Some of them are regenerate. So don't put challenge to these people, because in a week time, nothing will happen. And they will say their dog prevail. Oh, excuse me, their God prevail. But learn to stand up when anytime people like this stand up to you. Stand up to them toe to toe. Unless you are Ewe, unless you are Igbe. But if you are ever a VGG, stand up to these people. They're cowards. The same method white people are using to demean black people in general for their greatness. The same thing they're doing in Ghana. There's something great about you. They can deny it. But they know you're not stupid. You're not among the ethnic group that everybody can think. You are not smart. You are not with some value. You are not creative. Nobody can say that. And there is no ethnic group that is on all these things that I say, who are not creative, who are dumb. No, none. But certain people make it their way to demean other ethnicities. But when you look at them, you say, what? But I'm not here to say anybody in Ghana, any ethnic group in Ghana is this or that. Because when they group all of us together as black people, Africans, the white people call us, we're dumb. And we know we're not. We know we're not. So I'm not going to be here and say, even though certain people believe that those people are not this or that, we're all the same. We could learn from each other. And we've been doing it before until the politicians came and targeted certain people because of, trust level. I could talk about trust level. Some people have it due to what they believe in, due to their past history, what they used to be, and how they lay those things down from generation to generation. You see. So yes, there are differences. Certain people are good in building. Certain people may be good in law. Certain people may be good in a whole lot of creativity. Some group may be very good in dancing. Some group may be very good in drumming. And that is the Ever people. So we all came with degrees of artistic and creativity, different degrees. Some may be good in weaving, some may be good in metal working, because this is what we do. We pass it on until the Western education came and robbed our forefathers, our fathers, from the trade of our fathers, and the child have to go to become what? A doctor that cannot cure nobody. So the blacksmith have nobody to pass on the art of blacksmithing that span over 5,000 years in the family, the same family. A drummer don't have anybody to pass his craft that have been passed down for generations. They have to send that child to become what? A teacher, teaching colonial bullshit. You see? So white supremacy as a franchise is in Ghana, and people take money to do the job that the white man could not do. You Ever people don't stand up to these fools. There's something about you, just about something about black people in general, that white people are scared of. And within Africa, there are groups that the white man could not fully conquer. And when he's living in a fake out independence, he left that job for certain people who taken bribe from him to see if they could finish it up for him. But other people, with your Yahweh, stand up tall to be counted. And when fools like Charles Agyinasari are making fool of themselves, stand toe to toe with them. You see, I was in a pizza shop one day in America here, and a woman came with a Saudi Arabian flag, just a flag, and say they want to put it in their school. So she came and looking for some Arab shop. I was in this pizza shop, and these people were from, they are not even, I think they were Pakistani. He came with the framed flag and asked permission, is it okay to put this flag in a classroom? But the people, we just pizza, we don't care. According to Islam, we would say there's nothing wrong putting that flag in the, So the lady took the framed flag and went, humbly. And I was like, wow, that is respect. But do you know where that respect came from? It's because when you touch the prophet or anything that is very, 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 dearing to Muslims. I'm not here to tell you what Muslims will do to you. Go and ask, what is his name? Rushdie, who wrote some book about the prophet. And Ayatollah called some edit on him. Up to today, it was not carried on, but Salman Rushdie, or whatever they call him, is not in a very public place since 1980s. When the Ayatollah, the man who called that thing on him, is already past gone. But there are soldiers around looking for Rushdie. You see, that is the respect you get when people, not genuinely, intentionally want to put you through the gutter. And when you react, that becomes a respect. You cannot call Muslims any other name. You cannot do anything. Yeah, certain people get away with it, but a lot of people don't. You see, because they love their religion. You see, and their religion is just not, it's not different from anybody's. It's a belief system. People uphold to their belief system. And if Ghana is a religious free nation, or freedom of religion is being enshrined in a constitution, why certain people think their religion is better and the other one is not better. There was a time they don't see eye to eye with Muslims, but today they know they can't mess up with the Muslim community. But when we talk about evil, demonic religion, the Catholic Church, Vatican, is where it is. So the Ghana Bishop Association, or whatever they call them, they are representative of this demonic spirit. And that is where all the church business or the church association looked up to. The Christian Council is made of these bishops in leadership. And these bishops believe in the Catholic Church, which is a demonic organization. Yes. If a pope can call a papal bull to enslave millions of people and take their land and take their wealth and kill them, take a whole continent of America based on this papal bull and enslaved Africans, this is a Catholic organization which Ajinasari kiss ass to. You see, you should be a coward not to be able to speak to this evil. You're a coward. You see, you think you could pick some easy people, low-hanging fruit. But again, it's the other people make themselves to be a low-hanging fruit. Not Ajinasari, not Mahama, whose mother is calling on a national platform recently, Aigbe people. Aigbe is powerful. The history behind Aigbe is very powerful. Very, very powerful, that every person have to be proud of, because your trustworthiness is keeping the ancient throne of the Ghana nation safe. Which ethnicity in Ghana you can trust your throne into than the Epe people of Aneho? You see. And that trust is buried in Yepe, which is the entity in Nogokpo. Demons don't protect ancient thrones. Accra people, the people of Accra who are in Ajinasari's church, tell your cowardly looking bastard that demonic spirits don't protect any throne. That's God's representative on earth. Every throne. You see, every throne, there's Yahweh in it. Things that you're running away from in so-called Volta region is in every throne. If you have any throne in Ghana, in any region, element of voodoo is there. But when they are doing something in Meshia and they say nobody should come there with their shoes and everybody not supposed to come with their shirts, that voodoo law is adhered to. When they pass a law that here we're doing something over here and nobody should come with a shoe, you easily remove your shoe. When they say nobody should come with a shirt, you easily remove your shirt and go over there. That's element of voodoo. But you can't, you fall short to call that one voodoo. But you feel it is within your power to derail the voodoo of the Epe people. Oh, low-hanging fruit, right? That's cowardice. You think that certain people are weak. No. And you can pick on. No. If anything at all, is their worthiness. Just as white people see the worthiness of black people and turn around and try to demean them so they could cheat them. So they could come for your gold cheaply. If I disrespect you, then I could take your cocoa for free. And they've been doing it for years. And the same thing as I talk about franchising. The people that the white man, the colonialist, the pale man, the soulless soul, the enemy of our soul could not defeat in Africa, they hand him over to the people that they could control. Nigeria, the same thing. They hand it over to the Hausas. So the Igbo, the Yoruba, the real people who were in the slave coast, there's a reason why they are picking slaves from those areas. They are regal in bloodline. There's something about them that they have to pick more slaves from that area. A whole region is called Slave Coast. More people came from this area than in Gold Coast. It's history. Don't get mad at me. There are numerous castles along the coast. If Elimina Castle is existing, if Cape Cook Castle is existing today, is because the colonialists who make Cape Coast a capital of the Gold Coast renovated them and ran government from there, just like Osu Castle. Other than the Osu Castle have been, just ruined. Okay. And Usher Fort, we use it for a prison. So we need to reinforce it. The ones that had no need to be run as a government administrative centers fall into ruins. The ones that were could not be used for prison fall up in ruins. So merely because there are few castles or damn it, dungeons. There's no castle about these things. Dungeons, slave dungeons in Ghana don't mean all the slaves came from Ghana. Stop the lie. Stop the fucking lie. There was a whole region stretching over 400 miles called Slave Coast. And it's the Evwhehland. There's nothing romantic about this, but the reason why I'm bringing this in is why these people were targeted. Because of their creativity. There's something about them. They may be enslaved, but the remaining one refused to be enslaved. In the story of Togu Jokoto. Now, they won't go in for exile to be sodomized. Ajinasari, your people, could not protect your kings. They were taken to a far place from their power point, from their power center, from their people, isolated and weakened through sodomy. Ajinasari, don't pick on the Eves. We are not cowards.